Hi, and welcome to another episode of Around the Neighborhood with me, Scott McMahon, your local real estate professional. And today we're here in Sunset Park in West Linn. And over there is the Sunset Fire Hall. And over on this side of me is the Sunset Primary School, the new one. And we'll go in a little bit about the history of that in a second. But you'll probably notice that it's snowing. And once in a while in West Linn we get some snow days. And actually today was supposed to be a school day, but this is what we consider snow days. So none of the kids had to go to school. In other parts of the country, this is really just a snow dusting and not that big of a deal. But here in West Linn, we have a lot of hills, and so the roads get icy, and it's really the icy roads that we're more concerned about. But what makes West Linn so special? Well, let's take a look at this.
West Linn is located in the southern suburbs of the Portland metro area, just across the river from Oregon City. With just over 26,000 residents, West Linn is home to one of the best school districts in the state. It offers numerous parks, river access, dining and shopping throughout the neighborhoods, including its charming historic district. The prices for single-family homes range anywhere from $200,000 to $2 million. For the past few years, the median home price has been increasing beyond $525,000.
As you can guess, that part of the video was filmed before it snowed or rained. It was during the sunny days of West Linn. I just want to make sure I got outside today to capture a little bit of the snow before washed away by tonight. There was a lot more snow this morning, but I didn't get out until later on. We're going to take a look at the fire hall and a little bit of the history of the fire hall and what made it so special here in West Linn. So I'm standing out in front of the Sunset Fire Hall, and before 1912 there wasn't like a public water line, and the only fire sort of protection we had in this area here in West Linn and Sunset neighborhood were two canisters and a hose that they put on a cart, and the only way they knew there was a fire in town was somebody just running down the street, you know, and down the roads or the country roads yelling fire, fire, and then they would, you know, gather the canisters and the hose and cart it over to wherever the fire was. And back then apparently there was 80% water damage and 20% fire damage. So it wasn't until like 1912 where they got the water line in place, I think through the public water system. And the first like fire truck was like a Model A car that they just took off the back end and just put like some water containers and tanks behind it, and that was like the first iteration of the fire truck. Then after 1912 they got a few more trucks in place, and it was like 1938 they started adding on to the fire hall, and around 1958 was it finally they built out those garages back there. Of course, now the city doesn't use this as a fire station or fire hall. It's used as like a place a community center. You would check out the room for other things. And there's a downstairs section where I've seen like HOA meetings, Boy Scout, Girl Scout meetings, other community city meetings. And then on top, they use it for dance classes. And it's interesting to have a meeting down below when they're having dance class up on top. You can imagine the synergy that had. I've been working on trying to find some old photographs of this spot, because I've heard stories about, during the 1950s where they had like a sock hop or a soda social with the high school kids of that time. And just up the park here, the West Linn Lion Club back in 1975 had built this or donated this structure for picnics and gatherings within Sunset Park. I was here one summer when my friend's son was DJing like a picnic neighborhood event, and they put on Nirvana, and my friend and I proceeded to mosh as best we could in our summer wears, two old guys going at it. It's pretty impressive. One thing about a lot of these neighborhood parks here in West Linn, they're not big parks, but they're just quaint and charming, and they serve a great purpose for all the homes and neighbors around here to walk their dog, or kids play in the playground, go to school, utilize the community fire hall down the hill there. But living here for so many years, you're trying to take it for granted, all these gigantic trees. So it was a couple years ago that this whole Sunset Park stretched out all the way over there, and they demolished the old school, which we'll get into that in a second, the history of the school, and they erected this brand new school, and also the parking structure. And as you can see, there's these colored birdhouses that line the park, and this was the boundary line between what was the school side of things and what was going to be part of Sunset Park. So Sunset School was the first school here in West Linn. It was originally called West Oregon City School because Oregon City is on the other side of the river there, and it wasn't until West Linn became West Linn years later, changed the name of it, as well as named this area Sunset, and that's how it became the Sunset School. It was actually a school that taught kindergarten through 12th grade. Like I said, the original location for the school was around this area right here, and it was built in 1890. And I mentioned to you about the fire hall, how they didn't get really electricity or running water until like 1912. So they rebuilt the school in 1916, and then did another upgrade by building like a gym in like 1948. And for like 1948 until this new school, it kind of just stayed the same. And a lot of the kids in the city grew, and so they needed to do something. Another cool thing about this school's history, it happened to have the first school bus in the area, and it was really just horse carrying kids in a wagon, and they grabbed all the kids in the surrounding areas from like Rosemont to the edge of Tualatin, Stafford, and brought them over here because this was the first school in the area that served kindergarten through 12th grade. Throughout the years, a lot of the kids in the classes, they would create, time capsules, and they would bury them, amongst the school grounds. Well, apparently, they haven't been able to find some of them, and even with all the renovations they've done, they tried to find them, but they weren't successful. So somewhere around this property are probably several years of different time capsules. So if you have a metal detector, you can try to come out here and find it. The construction crews couldn't find it, so I don't know, what our luck is trying to find it. This is kind of cool. This is where the original fire bell used to hang in the old school. It used to sit out in front before they built this new structure, before they put the old bell inside the school. Anyway, it's kind of a neat little slice of history here in West Linn. And so if you're looking to buy or sell a home in this area, give me a call. All my information is down below, as well as you can grab my free video series called Free Secrets of the Real Estate Process over at freesecrets.net. That's at freesecrets.net. And thanks again for joining me here on another episode of Around the Neighborhood. It was actually more snow this morning. It'll probably wash away by the end of the day today. And today we're here in Sunset Park, Sunset, and there's a downtown. So you may recognize the building here, or at least the brick part, because it's what I used for my headshot for my real estate portfolio. You should see the original photo. It was photoshopped heavily.